From the Millis Center in High Point, North Carolina, Stadium TV presents women's college basketball, and today it's a battle in the Big South Conference as the UNC Asheville Bulldogs take on the High Point Panthers. Looking at the Big South Conference standings at this point of the season, Liberty in first place with an 11-1 record. Radford right behind, 2 games back in second place, and then in third place, a tie between High Point and UNC Asheville with identical 8-3 conference marks. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Welcome in. Brock Bowling, Kelly Deo with you. And, well, Kelly, you saw the graphic on the screen. High Point, UNC Asheville tied for third place right now in the league standings. This is a big game today in the conference race.
Yeah, major implications in this game today, especially as you look toward the conference tournament coming up in March. Everybody really racing for that top 4 spot. It gives all the teams a bye going into the tournament. Obviously, you'd love that extra day of rest.
We'll start with the visitors from UNC Asheville, and the Bulldogs are led by guard Kyla Webb.
She's one of 2 seniors on this roster, averaging 13 points a game, 2 assists per game. She's a leader on this team, but not necessarily a vocal one. She leads by example, does the dirty work, hard worker, has a great work ethic.
And on the other side for the High Point Panthers, they are led by Emma Bockrath, and she can do it all.
She is last season's Big South Player of the Year, and she's this season's preseason Big South Player of the Year as well. Has not disappointed, just 18 points away from getting 1,000, and she's just a junior. She plays 4 positions on this basketball team, and as you said, Brock, does a little bit of everything and does it all well.
All right, so coming up, it's UNC Asheville and High Point here at the Millis Center. We'll come back with the opening tip-off in just a moment, right here on Stadium TV. This Big South game is brought to you in part by Hardee's, eat like you mean it. Utz Snacks, get snacking. Dick's Sporting Goods, every season starts at Dick's. And Geico. Big South alumni could save even more with an alumni discount from Geico. Visit geico.com/Big South today. Time now for our Sunbelt keys to the game. And Kelly, what do you have for us today?
Well, Asheville needs to get back on defense. High Point loves to get in that running game. They didn't do that well. Coach Mock even said she may send 2 back in transition this game. And they also need to take care of the ball. Last time they played on January 6th, Asheville had 16 turnovers, which turned into 26 points off those turnovers. That can't happen today if she wants a victory. And then High Point, they need to turn defense into offense. That's what they've been doing so well as of late. They force steals, get offensive points, and then they want to play loose. They had a win against Longwood, and Coach Deanna Hendricks said she finally saw her team play the way that they're used to playing. They were having fun, and they were having a lot of things going well.
Here's a look at our Sunbelt Rentals lineups for UNC Asheville. Scott, Wall, Webb, Trani, and Fitzgerald. And for High Point, Cameron Brown, Emma Bockrath, we talked about her in the open, Lindsay Edwards, Shay Morgan, and Kennedy Curry. High Point comes in with a record of 14-8, 8-3 in the Big South Conference. UNC Asheville is 11-11, 8-3 in the Sunbelt, or the Big South Conference as well. Opening tap, and here we go, and here comes UNC Asheville, which is 5-0 this year in Big South Conference road games. They have a big challenge ahead of themselves here today at the Millis Center against High Point, and Bree Fitzgerald, who drops in the game's first 2.
Coach Mock has got to be happy with her big player doing exactly what she does well. Back to the basket, low on the block, good turnaround for Fitzgerald.
Now High Point, which had lost 3 of its past 5 games, is coming off a big, huge win at Longwood, winning by 36 points back on Tuesday night against the Lancers. Backdoor pass from Brown to Bockrath, and she lays it in.
And Asheville's got to be careful about overplaying those wings because High Point is smart, and they will look for that backdoor.
High Point played UNC Asheville in Asheville back on January 6th, and as you said, Kelly, won that game over the Bulldogs 58-45. Bulldogs trying to get revenge today on the road against the Panthers here at Millis Center. Shot clock at 5. Zip Scott driving high. Baker won't go. There's Bree Fitzgerald for the rebound and the putback.
That's one of the best rebounders in this conference as Cameron Brown takes it on the break. She could not get that one to fall. Here comes Zip Scott the other way.
Scott from the elbow drops it in, and UNC Asheville 3 for 3 from the field. Zip Scott's first 2 points of the game. It's 6-2 Asheville.
Now, Coach Mock said that the first time these two teams played, this was the pace she expected. Up and down tempo, but instead it was this defensive slugfest. No team really able to get a lot of points early on. So good to see both teams able to score pretty well so far.
Shea Morgan from the short corner drops it in. An easy 2 for Shea Morgan, her first 2 points of the game. And Asheville's lead is cut to 2. There's that full court pressure defense that Asheville has seemed to break easily. Scott for 3. Little too strong. Ali Trani with the offensive rebound, and a reach-in foul called on Shea Morgan of High Point, and that's her first.
So out of that full court pressure, UNC Asheville has been able to get good looks at the basket on almost every possession. High Point needs to make sure that they have better ball pressure and that they send those players back, because I've only seen probably one uncontested shot.
There's Kyla Webb, starting 2 guard for Asheville. Getting instructions from her coach, Brenda Kirkpatrick, as Ali Trani comes up short on that shot, and a loose ball foul inside on High Point again. That's on Kennedy Curry, and that's her first. This is a Nashville team, Kelly, which had 16 turnovers against High Point in Asheville back in January, and that led to 26 High Point points.
And so taking care of the basketball. They want good possessions. Nice job by Webb there. Nice up and under move, but you see the pace already by High Point.
First 2 points of the game for Kyla Webb, and it's Asheville doubling up on High Point, 8-4. Backrath, yes. Emma Backrath, who's now 16, making it 14 points away from 1,000 in her High Point basketball career, gets her 4th point of the game. And Asheville doing a great job of breaking that High Point press. High Point likes to run up and down the floor on offense and likes to play stingy defense as well. Shot clock at 5. Scott on the baseline, can't get the bounce. Offensive rebound, Bree Fitzgerald, and she scores.
And that hurts if you're a High Point, because that was tremendous defense for about 25 seconds, and then they let that offensive rebound go to UNC Asheville and made them pay. Good job on the boards by the Bulldogs.
6 points already for Bree Fitzgerald, already halfway to her average of 13 per game. Backrath inside and comes up way short. Here comes Webb on the defensive rebound for Asheville. And a steal and a reach-in foul called on Cameron Brown for High Point, and that's her first.
Cameron Brown did not agree with that call there. I thought that was pretty good defense on the perimeter. But as you mentioned, obviously Asheville trying to keep control of the ball. They don't want to get into high amounts of turnovers, because High Point makes you pay from defense into those offensive points.
Trani trapped and finds Scott. Scott in the lane finds Fitzgerald, lays it in. Bree Fitzgerald having a game in the first quarter. She has 8 points, 3 rebounds in the first 4.5 minutes of this game. Three-pointer up and missed by Backrath, and Trani runs down the rebound for Asheville. Here comes Jessica Wall. Wall stumbles and somehow finds the ball over to the hands of Webb. Webb, perimeter jumper comes up empty, and the rebound to Lindsay Edwards for High Point. Backrath lines up and misses that 3. Struggling from outside so far today is Backrath. She has a couple of field goals inside, but an offensive rebound for High Point. They'll reset.
Nice to just take a breath right here. This frenetic pace, I cannot imagine they keep this up for 40 minutes.
Foul inside on Ali Trani. That's her first. Back and forth battle here at High Point, and the visitors from Asheville doubling up on the Panthers. The 2018 Big South Basketball Championships will be here before you know it. The men's tournament returns to Big South campuses with a high seed format starting on February 27th and concluding with the championship game on March 4th on ESPN. Then the action continues in Lynchburg, Virginia with the Women's Basketball Championship hosted by Liberty University on March 8th through the 11th. For more about the 2018 Big South Basketball Championships, visit bigsouthsports.com/championships today. And Kelly, how about how active Bree Fitzgerald has been inside for Asheville?
Well, she's active and she's accurate. She's 4 for 4 from the field. Look at the way she's going after those offensive rebounds. 3 offensive boards, 4 total rebounds for her already. She has been tremendous.
And off the inbounds play, Emma Bockrath has her 6th point of the game, her 3rd basket. Now just 12 points away from 1,000 in her high point career. On the other end, Kyla Webb, her shot blocked out of bounds. It'll stay with Asheville. Asheville out to an amazing start shooting from the field. Kelly, 6 of 11 for 54%.
What's interesting, the rest of the team is 2 for 7, but Bree Fitzgerald is 4 for 4. So I think the high point defense making the other players for Asheville take these hurried up shots. But I feel like once the ball gets into Fitzgerald's hands, everything goes slow and she takes her time.
Jessica Wall from outside nails a big 3, a 39% free throw shooter. Makes it a 15-8 Asheville lead. High Point won the earlier meeting in Asheville over the Bulldogs this year by a score of 58-45. Asheville out to a great start. Olivia Van Sluten missing underneath, and the rebound to Trani for UNC Asheville. And Jessica Wall wide open for 3. Her second 3 of the game. She has 6 points, and Asheville up by 10.
Well, the trio of Webb, Wall, and Fitzgerald is deadly when they are hot. And a couple of those players already with big numbers. Nice shot there by Wall from outside.
Good defense by Asheville, and Wall up the floor is Trani. From the left elbow, Wilson misfires, loose ball. A jump ball, and the possession arrow will go back over to High Point. The head coach of UNC Asheville, Brenda Mock Kirkpatrick, affectionately known as Coach Mock, in her 5th year at the helm, actually her 6th year at the helm of UNC Asheville, the 2016 Big South Coach of the Year. She really likes this team. It had a really tough non-conference portion of the season, and 3 players were out with injuries, but that really toughened this team up, and they're doing very well in conference play this year.
Yeah, she said it just took her team a little bit of time to really gel because she had some of those big players out early on. But now, obviously, I think she's been happier with the way her team has come together.
Webb missing inside, but she's fouled. She'll head to the line and shoot 2. The foul's on Lindsay Edwards, and that's her first. And there's Deanna Hendricks, who just racked up her 100th career win as the High Point head coach back on Tuesday night in a blowout win at Longwood. Her team 14-8, 8-3 in the Big South Conference as Webb makes the first free throw. And Coach Hendricks asked her, hey, you know, you have basically a 2-to-1 ratio wins to losses in conference play in the Big South in your tenure. What's been the key? And she said, you know, that's a really good question. She says, you know, she just recruits good kids, good players. They put a system in place, and she says also that non-conference tough scheduling early in the year really propels her team going into conference play. They really play with an edge.
Well, when you play teams that are traditionally better than you, it makes you better as a team, and I think that's what we're seeing coming into conference play is these kids are used to playing at a high level, and so that's why they can execute at a high level in the conference.
Shot for 3 missed by Kat Harris, and the ball trickling out of bounds. It'll go back over to UNC Asheville, who's out to a great start. Again, this team 5-0 in Big South Conference road games this year. Usually it's the opposite. You play better at home than the road. It's vice versa with this team. Yeah,
it's so impressive. You obviously have to feel good about the way your team prepares on the road, which can be difficult.
Wilson comes up short on the bank try, and the rebound to High Point. Here comes Bockrath up the floor. Driving in the lane and fouled on the way up. She'll head to the line and shoot 2.
Fitzgerald already at the timeline, ready to come in. You knew she wouldn't be out very long. She's a player for Asheville that has to be on the floor for them to be successful, and she is one already, as we've mentioned. She's 4 of 4 already on the day. Perfect from the floor, all over those rebounds. She's really, I think, kind of the glue on this UNC Asheville team. She goes, as she goes, UNC Asheville goes.
Bachrath hits the free throw, 84% free throw shooter. Bachrath, Coach Hendricks said before the game, she's like a Swiss Army knife for this team. She can do it all, play positions 1 through 4. She can score inside, outside, makes that free throw. High Point 2 of 2 at the line. Asheville doubling up, High Point leading by 10. Fitzgerald inside again and lays it in.
And do you see what I mean by just the pace? It's so fast, but then once the ball gets to Fitzgerald, she's so solid going in as High Point answers with a 15-foot jumper.
And when they make shots like that, they can set up the press, but Asheville breaking it easily again. Scott Fitzgerald lays it in again. 12 points already in the first quarter for Bree Fitzgerald.
And at what point, if you're High Point, do you call off that press? That is just way too easy to get your big player one-on-one inside.
Oh, Brown had an opening and too hard off the glass. Webb in transition. They go inside to Fitzgerald, and she scores. 14 points for Bree Fitzgerald in the first quarter. Timeout taken by the Panthers and head coach Deanna Hendricks. A 26-point first quarter so far, and still 1:21 to go in the frame.
Well, the first time these two teams played, UNC Asheville finished with 45 points. In this first quarter, they already have 26 because of that lady right there, finishing shots inside. She has been way too much for the High Point defense.
Yeah, Bree Fitzgerald already in the top 10 all-time in career college basketball rebounding in the women's game, and 8th all-time in Division I career rebounding at the women's level. And Coach Mock told us before the game, this is the greatest rebounder I have ever coached, and she's been an assistant coach in the ACC and the SEC. She's seen some great rebounders, and she calls Bree Fitzgerald the best of the best that she's been coaching.
That's the way she goes after the ball. She has this great presence about her, has a tremendous body and size, and uses it so well to just get up and grab rebounds.
Fitzgerald, 14 points, 5 rebounds in the first quarter alone. And we still have 1:07 to go in this first frame. Curry knocks down a long 17-foot jumper.
So now if you're High Point, I would imagine trying to go at Bree Fitzgerald to try to get her into foul trouble, that may be the only way to stop her back when they are on offense.
Amira Korpening, number 1 in the game for the first time, along with Nadira Evans, 0 for Asheville. Shot clock inside of 10. Evans into Fitzgerald, triple teams, somehow dribbles out of it. 3 to shoot. Evans gets the shot off in time, and offensive rebound. Webb had it. Loose ball. Fitzgerald has it again. Tatrani open for the 3. And Bachrath leads the rebound for High Point up the floor to Curry. Harris had an opening. Brown will take it and knocks it down. Cameron Brown, her first 3 points of the game, and it's Asheville's lead of 9 with 4 seconds to go in the quarter. And Korpening doesn't realize it. First quarter ends. A fast and furious pace here in the first quarter of play here at the Miller Center in High Point. After 1, it's Asheville 26, High Point 17. Back with second quarter action coming up after this here on Stadium TV. Stadium is your new national sports network, the only 24/7 network available on both television and digital devices without a cable subscription. Live and classic games, daily live studio, original programming. Check your local television listings or go to watchstadium.com and click where to watch. Stadium, welcome to the game. Back in High Point, North Carolina, the Millis Center. 26-17 as we start the second quarter. Brock Bowling, Kelly Daya with you, and the star of the game so far, that young lady right there, Bree Fitzgerald, 14 points, 6 rebounds in the first quarter. Kelly, she has 6 rebounds so far. The entire High Point team has 6.
She has been way too much inside for High Point. They've got to figure out a way to stop her from scoring so easily.
Here's Trani in the short corner, trying to go baseline, and she traveled. That's the first turnover on UNC Asheville in this game. They took very good care of the basketball in the first 10 minutes.
And that's key for Coach Mock Kirkpatrick. As we mentioned, she really wants her team to handle the pressure and take care of the basketball. So an excellent first quarter play to go the entire time without a turnover.
In that first quarter, High Point shot 43%, not too shabby, but Asheville shot 55%. Harris had her shot partially blocked, and it's taken away by Jessica Wall. Here comes Trani. Wall in rhythm for a 3 and knocks it down again. Jessica Wall, her third 3 of the game, and Asheville leads it by 12. Shot blocked on the other end by Bree Fitzgerald. She's everywhere today. Another 3, this time by Webb. Got it!
You couldn't draw it up any better for UNC Asheville right now. In transition, they've got players running long. High Point has to fall into the paint to guard them, and they're forgetting about the players along the perimeter. They've got to make sure they find shooters, or Asheville will make them pay.
Here's Bockrath from the foul line. They can't get the roll, and that ball tapped out of bounds off of High Point's Kennedy Curry. It goes back over to Asheville. The three-point shooting has been outstanding here for the Bulldogs today. It seems like both teams, Kelly, playing with a lot of energy, but Asheville executing better with that early energy. Turnover on Asheville. Here's Bockrath inside and scores.
That's what High Point will do. They'll make you pay. When you turn the ball over, they're very good at turning those turnovers into points on the other end. Emma Bockrath in particular.
As Scott needs help as she picked up the dribble, and a reach-in foul called on Cameron Brown. That's her second.
Number 2, Cameron Brown.
Cameron Brown, a terrific on-ball defender. She's saying that Asheville got her with the elbow there. She tried to fall to take what would have been a charge, but in fact, the foul was called on her. She's just a sophomore on this team. She was voted, though, the lone captain, which says a lot about the way that her players think of her, especially as a young kid on the team.
Scott from the perimeter and comes up empty. Brown up the floor to Edwards, lays it in. Edwards' second basket of the game. She has 4 points, and Asheville's lead cut to 11.
Lindsay Edwards, not necessarily a big-time shooter, but that's where she can get a lot of her points, is in transition.
Webb feeling it. Leans inside at the foul line, and the roll does not drop for her. Here comes High Point and Edwards. Zip Scott tries to stop the ball. She did, but fouled Edwards in the process. That's Zip Scott's first foul, and team foul number 1 as well here in the second quarter.
I know we've talked a lot about the pace of this game, but I don't think either team really has a problem with that. I think both of these teams are ones that really like the transition game. They have the horses, if you will, to be able to maintain this throughout the game, especially when you've got a player like that in the post who can bring the ball up the floor. I like seeing those guard skills, Bree Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald already 7 rebounds in this first half, along with 14 points. She's had a game here already in the first quarter and a half this afternoon. Scott finds Webb. Now to Fitzgerald. Tries to make her move with 5 to shoot. And Trani had the ball poked away. Here comes Kennedy Curry all alone and scores. Third turnover by Asheville in the quarter. It had no turnovers in the first quarter of play. And a timeout taken with 6:33 to go in the second quarter. High Point hanging around as it has trimmed the lead down to 9 at 32-23. Visit BigSouthSports.com and stay current with everything in the Big South Conference. News, results, stats, standings, and much more. Vote on the UTS fan poll and watch the Hardy's star plays and enjoy video features profiling student athletes from across the conference. Plus, of course, free live streaming events throughout the year on the Big South Network. Remember, the source for all of your conference information is BigSouthSports.com. Back here in High Point, and Jessica Wall has been lighting it up from downtown.
Well, she had that one within the offense, but a lot of these are coming in transition. The nice extra pass from Webb to find Wall. She is perfect from the perimeter, 3 of 3. And in that trio of Webb, Wall, and Fitzgerald, the combined trio has 30 of Asheville's 32 points. They are deadly. You've got to defend those 3 kids. And
Asheville, 4 of 6 from three-point range here in this game so far. They are lighting it up from the field and from outside the arc as well. Shot clock inside of 10. Down to 3 seconds. Wall has to put it up in a hurry, just does in time. Offensive rebound, Fitzgerald again, and she scores.
So again, that's 30 seconds of tremendous defense by High Point. Asheville didn't even know what defense they were in, and so they couldn't figure out what offense to run, and then Fitzgerald just completely wipes that away by getting that offensive board and bucket.
16 points for Fitzgerald, 8 rebounds, and by the way, she's 8 for 8 from the field. She has not missed a shot. And finally, a mistake made by Fitzgerald, a foul called on Bree as Kennedy Curry scores her 3rd basket of the game.
And if I am Deanna Hendricks, I am going to try to play ISO against Bree Fitzgerald all day long to get her in foul trouble. Nice job, ball entry inside to Kennedy Curry, nice turnaround, makes the basket.
So Kennedy Curry at the line has 6 points, only a 52% free throw shooter, grew up just down the road here on I-40 in Greensboro, and she comes up short on that free throw. High Point 2 of 3 at the line. Asheville ball leading by 9. Wall got it again. This time a 2-pointer, her 4th field goal, 11 points.
And you got to credit the ball screen by Bree Fitzgerald, just a strong, hard screen. Nobody came out and hedged and gave her a lot of time to get that 15-foot shot off.
Hunter Fleming, number 5 in the game for the first time today for the Panthers. Here's Bachrath, just 8 away from 1,000 career points. Morgan inside, another rebound for Bree Fitzgerald. That's her 9th rebound of the first half. And now Asheville slowing up the pace just a bit. They were up and down the floor in that first quarter. Ball out of bounds off of High Point. Shot clock still at 10.
But you see the immediate attention that Bree Fitzgerald is drawing every time she touches the ball now. There are at least 2 defenders around her trying to at least slow her down or contain her.
Webb thought about the 3, elects not to take it, goes inside with 5 to shoot. A whistle and foul called inside, away for the ball on Asheville. It's an offensive foul. It's on Tiffany Wilson, that's her 2nd.
I just think too much hesitation there by Webb on that play. Going off the ball screen, she had a clean shoulder-to-shoulder rub. Just go up and take that shot with the shot clock winding down.
Approaching 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Kat Harris finally scores inside. That's her first 2 of the game, and they say when she gets going, the team gets going because she's the most emotional player on the team, and the players really feed off that energy.
Yeah, she's a high-energy player, and you know, I think that same can be said on the other side. If she's not having a good night, sometimes that can also feed into the rest of the players, so good to see her get going early in this half.
And just like that, quickly, shot clock inside of 10. Wall, step back 2. Leaves it short, offensive rebound, jump ball, and the possession arrow goes back over to High Point.
And I'm just not sure that's the offensive possession that Coach Mock wants from her team. I didn't see a single pass within the offense. As soon as that shot clock ran down, there was 1 ball screen and 1 attempted shot. I think when there's more motion, you make High Point shift your defense a little bit, and then you can find openings.
High Point trying to claw back into this game. Edwards off the mark, and Wilson the rebound for Asheville.
I love the way the officials are letting these teams play. These are both high physical teams, and I think this game would be completely different if we heard whistles every few minutes. Great pace for this basketball game.
Wilson lost the ball, turnover Asheville. It's 4th of the game. Edwards comes flying at the floor and too hard on the layup attempt. Here comes Jessica Wall up the floor. Webb thought about it from the corner. Here's Troney inside, finds Corpening, and she got it.
See, that's a little bit more offense. Few passes, you find the open person inside the lane. Great job in execution by Asheville.
Asheville is led by double figures for most of this first half so far. We're approaching 2:20 left in the second quarter. Here's Backraft. She's really had to labor for shots and points in this game so far. Whistle inside, 3-second violation on Asheville. That's the 5th turnover on Asheville. High Point has just 1. Here's a key stat, Kelly. High Point this year has had fewer turnovers than its opponents for 13 straight games. High Point's record 10-3 in those games. That's a stat that Coach Hendricks or any coach has to like.
Well, oftentimes your team plays the way that you played as a player. And Coach Hendricks was a point guard at the University of Richmond, really high, intense, impactful point guard. She's used to being able to play without turnovers. That was her job to do. So it's not, I'm not surprised that her team would follow suit because that's something she focuses on. Fitzgerald
back in the game with a hot hand today. And another turnover and a reach-in foul called on Allie Troney. That's her second. That's 6 turnovers on Asheville. And after a fast and blistering start for Asheville in the first quarter, this second quarter it's been pretty much a game of trading baskets.
I think both defenses have picked up quite a bit. We've mentioned High Point's defense, but I really think that UNC Asheville has done a good job of making it very difficult to get open looks until that nice high-low look right there by High Point. Good job rubbing off the screen. She was wide open at the block.
And that's a foul on Bree Fitzgerald. That's her second, and immediately Coach Mock Kirkpatrick will go to the bench. And she'll bring in Brooke Jordan Brown, likely to replace Bree Fitzgerald, who has 2 personals, does not want to pick up a cheap 3rd foul before the end of the first half. There is the substitution. Jordan Brown in for Fitzgerald.
Well, Fitzgerald has played her last few years under KJ Weaver, and if you're a UNC Asheville fan, you know that name very well. She was a high impact player for this team, and so Fitzgerald really learned a lot under her, and I'm just sad she only has 1 year where she is kind of the show in the post as a senior. I wish she had a couple years left to play for the Bulldogs.
Steal by Edwards out ahead of the pack. Lays it in. 7 turnovers on Asheville, and Edwards cuts the deficit down to 7. Blocking foul called on, I believe, Kat Harris, number 1 for High Point, and it is on Harris, and that's her first.
Coach Hendricks has commented about how she has thought her girls have really bought in this year to this defensive philosophy, and that was the way that they were going to get this comeback. They were way down in this game in the first quarter of play, and they've used their defense to get stops and scores. And when you have that, you have to feel very reassured coming into the rest of this game.
7 turnovers on Asheville, just 1 on High Point, and there's an illegal screen. That's the 3rd foul in the first half for Ali Trani. Moving screen at the top of the key.
And that's technically another turnover. So another great job by the High Point defense of getting the ball back and the possession.
So she has 3 personals, and Fitzgerald has 2. Harris from the perimeter. That's off the mark, and Jordan Brown with a rebound for Asheville. Here comes Zip Scott. Asheville has led the entire way and now leads by 7 with 45 seconds remaining. Scott with the floater, no. Put back up and in by Kyla Webb. Webb with 9, and it's a 9-point advantage. Morgan inside to Bockrath, immediate double team, and finds Harris in the corner, wide open for 3. Offensive rebound to Bockrath. Contact, no call. Morgan follows. That's too strong. 3 attempts and tries for High Point, and they come up empty. 5 seconds to go in the first half. Floater missed. Offensive foul called on Asheville. They go the other way. Foul on Kyla Webb, and that's her first. Stay tuned. Coming up at halftime, we have the Geico halftime report. Highlights of this first half and more. And take a look at yesterday's Big South scoreboard, all coming up at the Geico halftime report. And the first half has come to an end. Your halftime score here in High Point. UNC Asheville 40, High Point 31. A back and forth battle. High Point struggling against Bree Fitzgerald and her offense on the offensive end for Asheville. 40-31, Asheville by 9 at the break here on Stadium TV.